Hi everyone, assalamu alaikum. Hopefully you all are doing great. In this lecture, I am going to discuss a question from English Masters Final Year. The question is discuss years ideas about the problem of the contemporary world. Great writers and poets cannot remain silent during a crisis of the world or civilization. Similarly, W.B. Yeats, like T.S. Eliot, was greatly concerned about the political, moral, and spiritual degeneration of the modern world in general and particularly of Ireland of the post-World War period. The degeneration of the modern civilization was due to several causes, chances, loss of faith and moral values, lack of communication and human relationship, commercializations of life, and moral tension and politics and war. Yeats' poems, Chances No Second Troy, September 1913, An Irishman Forces His Dead, Easter 1916, Sailing to Byzantium, etc., deal with the problem of Ireland, and poems like The Second Coming, A Prayer for My Daughter, Leda and the Swan. The gyre, etc., refers to the problem of the contemporary world. Yes, condemns the violence and hatred of the Irish political leaders. W.B. Yeats lived not only in the troubled modern era but also in country where troubles were lurking all the time. As an Irishman, he was passionately attached to the country by ties of ancestors and pride in the country's history and legend, but it was gradually disillusioned when he felt the violence and hatred by Irish political leaders was a meanness of spirit, a kind of selfishness and lack of breeding which was poisoning the heroic Irish nobility. In the second Troy, the poet deplores the fact that Morgan, whom he loved and courted for about 20 years, wrought havoc by revolutionary zeal. She was fiery leader who espoused the cause of the Irish people by Ireland independence from the British rule, but she made them violent and destructive. There was no Troy for her to be burnt, and therefore she gave rein to her terrific energy and revolutionary fire by inciting the ignorant, foolish, and narrow-minded Irish people to rise against the aristocratic families of Ireland. Yes, criticizes the present leadership in Ireland. In September 1913, the poet is critical of the present leadership of Ireland. The present leaders are narrow-minded and greedy people who know only to make money, but they are incapable of any heroic deed. On the other hand, the Irish leader in the past were hard-working and had little time to save and pray. They worked and died for motherland, but all the heroic self-sacrifice have been wasted, for the Irish people are petty and mean, and their present leaders are miserly and greedy. Yes, in the contemporary, for the modern Irish leaders says that it does not matter what they think of the old leaders who are dead and gone, with old ladies with the grave. Poems on Irish patriot. An Irish airman forces his dead is a patriotic poet written in 1919 and was inspired by the dead in aerial combat with the enemy of friend Major Gregory, who was in the British Royal Air Force. The poet has tried to express out this sentiment and characteristic of the Yeats himself. The speaker of the poem says that to him the momentary thrill of the aerial battle high up in the clouds seems to be more attractive and humdrum, and dull life has been leading in the past and hopes to lead in the future, although it might eventually brings about ultimately death. And through the mouth of the Irish airman, Yeats expresses his patriotic feeling. Easter 1916 highlights the oppression and exploitation of British Empire in Ireland and the sacrifice of the Irish patriotic citizens who revolted against the British rule in Easter uprising of 1916. However, the revolutionary forces were defeated within a week, and 16 of them were shot by the British court martial. And the Yeats admires the heroic achievement of Irish patriot, but wonders whether the sacrifice of the martyrs was necessary, and he agrees that the heroic fight against the mighty force of the British Empire enhanced the stature of the Irish people.